past, so we're going to go ahead and get rocking and rolling. Thanks for everyone tuning in live today. As you can see on the screen, we're going to be talking about all things sustainability, sustainable commerce, buzzword or reality. Sustainability is, of course, a consistent and growing focus in our industry. It's incredibly important for, well, quite a few reasons, but of course, climate change and all of the effects it's having on our planet. And I could throw out a number of stats right now, but I'm going to wait for presentations because I know our presenters here today have a ton of information to share with you. So without further ado, Zach, if you want to head to the next slide and then give a quick intro about yourself. And we can start with
Hi,
Zach.
everyone. My name is Zach Bailey. I'm the lead success partner strategist at Justuno. Love working with e-commerce brands, especially surfacing how we can help bring your sustainability efforts to the forefront. This is going to be a really impactful and valuable presentation today, and I'm really excited to work with a lot of my tech partners that I've worked with in the past. So thanks for taking the time out of your busy business day.
Awesome. I'll go next. I'm Dane, co-founder and CEO of EcoCart. Like Zach mentioned, thank you all so much for taking some time. Really excited to be connected with you all today and for allowing us to take a little bit of your day. At EcoCart, we like to say that we're on a mission to help save the planet one e-commerce order at a time. We calculate the carbon footprint of a purchase and then allow a consumer at checkout to have a carbon neutral order by adding a few extra cents to their purchase and making it carbon neutral. We have a whole suite of tools that brings that to the forefront of the customer experience and boosts core business KPIs all the while, such as cart conversion and AOV and some other amazing KPIs. So I'm excited to tell you more about it. But yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. I am Jen. I am the co-founder and CMO over at Manifest Commerce. We are a sustainable 3PL. So we invented plastic-free fulfillment after the wake of COVID caused a surge in e-commerce. Once we saw e-commerce just bloom and grow, as part of that, there was also a trash pandemic that happened along with the COVID pandemic. So we co-founded, me and 3 partners co-founded Manifest Commerce to help put an end to wasteful practices in fulfillment. And we're so happy to be here and to share just some ways that you can green your 3PL operations. And we'll get into the meat and potatoes of it during the presentation. So thanks for having me today, Michael, and excited to be here.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Jen. I'm Ian Archbold. I'm a senior lifecycle marketer at Hawk Media here in Los Angeles. We work with hundreds of e-commerce brands, acting as their offsite CMO. And primarily in my field, in my department, I'm handling SMS, email, push notifications, as well as loyalty and rewards. So really helping those brands deliver their message of sustainability to both their consumers and new, prospective leads.
Thanks.
And hi, everyone. I'm Molly. I'm head of social impact at Shopping Gives. We are a social impact commerce platform, helping brands work together more effectively with nonprofits, empowering brands' donations to nonprofits through the commerce journey. Our technology sits both online and in store, covering brands and nonprofits from a compliance perspective and really driving more dollars into the hands of nonprofits in a mutually beneficial way for both the brands and the philanthropic organizations.
Awesome. Thanks, Molly. Great, cool. Thanks for those intros. Yeah, we're a few minutes past, so I'm going to cover some quick logistics of this webinar here. If you have any questions for any of our panelists at any time, please throw it in the Q&A function or the chat. We're here live for you. So if you have any questions, we're here to answer them. So please send those in the chat or the Q&A, and we will get those answered. Additionally, this is being recorded and it will be sent out to all webinar registrants tomorrow morning. So look out for that. So if you have anyone that would love to watch this webinar, you think, anything like that, share it out, look out for that email. Additionally, our partners have some pretty awesome offers for you. And yeah, so without further ado, Molly, you'll be going first, so take it away. And Zach, yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to share my screen. Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Yeah, great. So to kick things off, we're going to talk about a sustainability focused giving strategy or philanthropic giving. I think a lot of brands get stuck when they think about sustainability and how to integrate sustainability into their business model. There are a lot of limiting beliefs that are tied to the complexity of sustainability and ESG. Some of these are, I don't know where to start. Sustainability is difficult and or expensive to achieve. Maybe your product is not inherently sustainability focused. You don't use recycled materials like Allbirds, or maybe you feel like your brand isn't successful enough to give back. You didn't hit your quarterly goals, or you're just getting off the ground as a brand. These are all limiting beliefs, but the truth is sustainability can be accessible to all brands through philanthropic giving by simply partnering with an organization that is near and dear to your company's heart or that aligns with your customers, that also is doing something sustainable in the world, either through water resource or environmental conservation. So philanthropic giving can be your entry point into a sustainability strategy for your business. Oh, also, I think a poll just launched, so would love to get a gauge of the room. Does your company have a philanthropic giving strategy? So this simply means, do you give to nonprofits? And I will continue in the presentation while everyone is answering that poll. So as I was mentioning in the intro, Shopping Gives helps brands work more effectively with nonprofits by streamlining the cause marketing process from the moment a customer generates a donation by making a purchase online or in store, all the way to the granting of the donations to a nonprofit. So if you've seen a brand, or if your brand itself has said, I want to donate 1% of purchases to a certain organization, our technology helps facilitate that. We have a Shopify app that we can integrate with any CMS, and we're so proud to work with 2,000 purpose-driven retailers who are integrating a social impact into their commerce journeys and doing well for their brand while also doing good. So we help them identify causes and set a social impact strategy. Here are some really wonderful resources your companies can use to get started. The ones on the left-hand side of the screen, 1% for the Planet and Certified B Corporations, are membership organizations that serve as a really good roadmap for identifying your company's approach to sustainability and social impact. 1% for the Planet, even if you're not a business member, so even if you haven't taken the pledge to donate 1% of your profits to an environmental cause, they still have a really great resource, a directory, an online directory of sustainability-based organizations that you can give back to. So I reference their directory of nonprofits all the time. The Certified B Corporation, even if your brand isn't trying to become a certified B Corp yet, I always recommend that brands take the assessment because it serves as a really great roadmap outside of philanthropic giving for what areas of improvement your brand can take to become a more sustainable, purpose-driven brand that has a positive impact on your internal and external communities from a sustainability angle. And then in terms of identifying organizations to support, both GiveWell and Charity Navigator are amazing charity rating sites that vet thousands and thousands of organizations and then group those organizations by cause category. So if you don't know where to begin with a nonprofit to support, and you want to support maybe the Nature Conservancy, but are also looking for a more local-based organization, I would suggest these 4 resources for getting started. And they're ones that I reference all the time when making charity recommendations to our brand partners. Another thing to keep in mind when setting your giving strategy in a nonprofit to support is that sustainability philanthropy is super diverse. Yes, there's the One Tree planted the Sierra Clubs and the Nature Conservancies of the world. But sustainability falls into many categories like environmental conservation, climate action, ocean conservation, water resource, even wildlife conservation like the World Wildlife Fund, and food sustainability like Feeding America. This all falls under the umbrella of sustainability or organizations you can support for an activation like Earth Month, and you can select organizations that align closely to the causes or that align closely to either your customer base or your product base. So now that you've identified a nonprofit and set a giving strategy, maybe you've decided you want to donate 1% of donations. There are ways you can do that really effectively, both on your website and in store through technology like Shopping Gives offers. So when we are strategizing with our brand partners, we have a suite of fundraising tools that integrate seamlessly onto brands' websites where they can bring the giving front and center. So some ways we recommend to the brands are through store donations, either a set dollar amount or a percentage of purchase. You can also invite your customers to contribute in the give back journey as well by rounding up their donations or having an add-on donation to that nonprofit that you're supporting. Or you can create a collection of products that are dedicated to a certain cause area or organization, like donating your recyclable water bottles to 1% for the planet. So that's step 3 in this process, is after you've identified a nonprofit, setting your giving strategy either on your website or in store. A couple examples of this. I think my screen is a little slow. Hold on. Okay, so can you all see Crave Beauty?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. My screen is kind of split, so I see 2 examples right now. So Crave, for example, aligning their customers with purpose is supporting the Women's Earth Institute for Earth Month. There we go. Now my screen updated. They have a primarily female identifying audience. So they wanted to support a cause that would identify with their clientele while also promoting sustainability. So through our technology, they're donating 1% per product to the Women's Earth Alliance for Earth Month 2022. And the screenshots on the right-hand side show how they're incorporating this giving strategy into their commerce journey and really inviting their customers to participate in their social impact. So that's an example of aligning a customer segment with purpose. And Mobot, another brand partner of Shopping Gives, decided to align more of their product with purpose. So they developed an eco-friendly water bottle that would, in addition to fueling their community to feel good and do good, they partnered with Shopping Gives to donate to the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society for a plastic-free July campaign that took part last year. So this is an example of aligning a specific product on their site with an organization that would align with the campaign they were running. So then the last step is timing. When should you fundraise? When to push this out to your customers? There are a number of awareness moments around over the course of the year your brand can participate in. So for example, we are in Earth Month right now, which is why we're hosting this webinar. Earth Day is the 22nd. There's also World Oceans Day in June and the UN Climate Conference in October. So these are all like public milestones and moments that your customers may be aware of and would be a good opportunity to push them out to your audience and run a marketing campaign. Apart from that, you can also join a larger coalition or campaign. For example, Shopping Gives, we frequently host collaborative coalitions with our nonprofit partners to push whatever campaigns they're running forward and programs that our brand partners can help them achieve. Last year, we collaborated with Global Green on an Our Cities coalition and galvanized the brand community to support that specific campaign. And right now, we're running an Earth Month coalition with One Tree Planted, getting brands together to fundraise for One Tree Planted and help them hit their philanthropic goals. And that's it. Thank you so much. I hope that was helpful information on how to set a philanthropic giving strategy around sustainability.
Awesome. Thank you for the rundown, Molly. No, that was really good, especially your first slide on like different, big causes that you can align with. You make it really easy. So I really appreciate that. And I just wanted to call out Randall. Thanks for putting that comment. Actually, a lot of our next presentations will be covering, I think, what you're looking for. So yeah, just stay tuned. But yeah, thank you very much. And Dane, why don't you take it away?
Awesome. Great points, Molly. Is really helpful and totally aligned in a lot of ways with what I'm about to say as well. So it's actually a really good transition. Obviously, I'm personally a huge fan of shopping gives, so excited to follow you up here. So I'm Dane, co-founder and CEO of EcoCart. And for a quick background, we've been around as a solution for about 3 years now. We like to say that we're again on a mission to help save the planet one e-commerce order at a time. And I'm happy to kind of tell you a little bit more about how we do that. So first and foremost, the sort of the why behind the solution we built and what we're why we're partnering with companies and brands is because consumers really care. Roughly 2/3 of consumers actively check if a brand has a sustainability initiative or practice before making an online purchase with them. And that's huge. So, there's a poll here that's sort of similarly related. And so I'm curious to hear everyone's thoughts as we kind of move forward, but I'll continue on. And when you all have a moment, if you could fill out that poll, that'd be very helpful. So we can kind of get a feel for how you all are thinking about sustainability and where you are in that journey. Really, overall, the numbers speak for themselves here as again, 2/3 of consumers, but, modern shoppers today truly value, 3 main things, right? It's discovering and shopping via social media. It's preferring to shop for sustainable green products and then shopping to have an impact. And that's crucially important to how what drives purchases today for millennials and Gen Z, which is really a very important purchasing cohort here today, as well as over the next few years. And so the poll looks like it's in, which is awesome. So the question is, what is the most important part of a brand sustainability strategy to you? Looks like, roughly 2/3 of you all mentioned that proof that they're minimizing their footprint is most important, right? So show me the transparency, show me what's going on here. That's crucial. As a second is transparency into their emissions. So how was that actually calculated to begin with? And then lastly, which offset project they're funding. So that's some really good insight. Thank you all for participating there. You're absolutely right. And that's a great kind of transition into what it really boils down to here is transparency. It's all about transparency. Social shopping is about introducing social proof into the equation. Brand missions with social good aspects reveal the good behind the products and the people behind the products and the projects that are being funded and supported. And sustainability stories are about being upfront about business practices. And the more transparency that you as a company, as a brand, thread into your entire shopping journey, the better results show, right? And there's tons of success stories that we have that, there's a direct correlation with a company having sustainability practices and throughout their ethos of their company and the success that it shows for them around cart conversion and LTV and how many repurchases happen over a given time frame, and just the loyalty and love and NPS score that a consumer has for your brand. So a quick kind of background into, how to actually do this, right? So what are some tactical ways to go about doing this? We're in Earth Month now. How, I know you all are here for some hopefully some advice on how to actually make this happen. And this is the start of it, right? So the first step is to uncover or measure what your carbon footprint is. That's always the first step to any problem, is identifying where you are, where you sit. And so what our technology does, for sort of just a quick overview and a shameless plug, is we calculate the carbon footprint of a consumer purchase by looking at variables like shipping distance, package weight, product type, translating that to a dollar amount, and then allowing a consumer at checkout to offset that carbon footprint. And what we mean by that is we are funding certified carbon offset projects like planting trees, building wind farms, sustainable agriculture, methane capture, et cetera, all of which to balance out or net out the carbon footprint of the purchase. And that presents an amazing opportunity, not just because you're aligning your brand with sustainability initiatives and practices and good for the world, but also that has an amazing result on customer loyalty and love. And a consumer gets to see, here is their specific carbon footprint from purchasing with you, and here's what they can do as a consumer to offset that purchase. And ultimately, we've also built in some really incredible ways to tell this story across your entire shopping journey. We have features and a toolkit, so to speak, of features that really aid in this process. And so, the three ways of how we go about doing this is first informing the consumer that this exists as an option within your shopping experience, right? And we have banners and badges, and we have product page injections and messaging throughout your website pre-purchase, and kind of looking at the entire conversion funnel of your consumers, all the way from that checkbox at checkout to make their order carbon neutral, but of course as well up that entire conversion funnel to showcase every point of that shopping journey for the consumer that they'll have that carbon neutral purchase with you. Really priming your consumer to start, that alignment and customer loyalty even before they add an item to their cart. And so that's where, this sort of, I'll zoom in here so you all can see where this leftmost phone comes into play, right? You'll see a top strip banner there at the top, carbon neutral shipping available. There's a banner and a badge that exists there on the actual product image. And then there's that messaging that says carbon neutral option with EcoCart. They can click into that and learn more. All of these are sort of part of our suite of features and benefits. The second is kind of a little bit of a case study, right? We work with Siete Foods. Hopefully some of you on this call have had their amazing gluten-free chips before. They're incredible. I keep a box next to my desk. I probably indulge way too much. And we work with them to create this story. It's a platform to really educate your consumer and tie your brand with a sustainability initiative. And we worked with them to find this Ejido Forest project that was centered around this specific region of Mexico that they wanted to support. It's really close to their roots as a company. And we helped them find that project and tell an amazing story to their consumers, and that really fosters that love. And then the last is really inspiring. So how do you inspire your customers to help you make a difference? And how do you align both of your interests and mission towards making that difference in the world? And we have features like an impact counter on your website that counts the real-time impact of your consumers and the impact you're having, such as the pounds of CO2 that you've offset over time, the equivalent trees that you saved. Again, this is all about how do you thread as much of this into your customer journey as possible to really brag to your consumers that you're doing this work, right? That's the key here is how to first measure what you're doing. And then offset that and offer your consumers that ability to offset that through their shopping journey, or you can cover that on your own as well. We have some of our brands choose to cover that offset cost. And then the last part is sort of how do you thread that into the entire customer journey, and that is exactly what our sort of suite of features helps you do. And so that's a quick overview of our solution. And again, the numbers speak for themselves. We have success stories where cart conversion was boosted by over 10%, in some cases 19% and 22%. We've had AOV increases. And so the bottom line is consumers are literally more willing to purchase with a company if they know that their missions are aligned and that their environmental impact will be mitigated. And it's true today now more than ever, just considering we're in Earth Month and consumers are starting to truly demand this option and solution. And what I like to say is we're kind of right now in this golden age, golden era between when sustainability is a competitive advantage and when it's an absolutely must have. And EcoCart is sort of helping push that movement forward and leading that sustainable shopping movement. So thank you all so much for taking some time to listen to me.
Awesome. Wow. Thanks, Dane. That was fantastic. Yeah, and it's actually kind of a perfect segue into our next presentation from Zach, who will be talking about all things communication on site. So it's great that you covered, like, how to get the message out there, offsets and everything. And actually, I want to give you a shameless, well, not shameless because I'm doing it, but a plug for EcoCart. Y'all put out a awesome ebook a little while ago on sustainability. I read it. It was a huge inspiration for this webinar. So I'm going to get that link and share it in the chat. I would recommend that everyone here reads it. They've got a ton of awesome partners on there, including Shopping Gives. And yeah, so I'll send that in the chat and please check it out because it's awesome. So thank you, Dane. But yeah, so let's launch right into our next one, and that is Zach from Justuno. So Zach, take it away.
Thanks so much, Dane. Homesick, I love that brand. That's a great one, and we'll segue into piggybacking off a lot of what was presented earlier. And what we found here at Justuno when we're helping with our e-commerce brands and the thousands of brands that we've supported with their on-site messaging is there's been some changes in consumer behavior when it comes to that travel, that visitor journey down the conversion funnel, right? And recent consumer survey data shows that 67% of consumers research a brand's sustainable practices before converting. So sustainability is now, especially for the younger generation, a very impactful part of the buying process, and e-commerce owners that are aware of this, they're already ahead of the ROI strategy. So according to Greenprint survey, 64% of Americans have no qualms with paying more for a product that's easy on the environment, right? But the survey warns that 74% of consumers don't know how to identify products that are sustainable. So an urgent issue for all of our eco-friendly brands is now present, right? So implementing practices that are more sustainable across your business operation is, of course, the most important part of making your business more sustainable. But if you aren't communicating your sustainable initiatives to your audience, then you're missing out on a significant amount of revenue. So in the presentation here for Justuno's portion, we're going to cover some of that information. And we want to cover some of those strategies and provide some examples of e-commerce brands using Justuno's on-site messaging to service and to surface those sustainability practices and ultimately, right, increase their conversion opportunities. We're e-commerce business owners. We have to stay profitable. So statistics show that the e-commerce model is almost 20% more carbon efficient than brick and mortar retail. So already ahead of the game. And I've seen so many e-commerce brands with sustainable involvement, but it's often way too far down, buried in the site, or maybe it's hidden in a library of blog pages. Now, the strategy here with Justuno is to surface this messaging early, but to also surface it often, right? So use on-site messaging, like Dane said, banners that follow visitors throughout the site, or they only display on targeted URLs like cart or product pages or blog pages where your SEO is driving a lot of traffic. Now, the visitor needs transparency in order to trust the brand, in order to convert. So your sustainability messaging should expose the brand's current efforts, visitor contributions, and brand goals. This allows the visitors to participate and it reduces conversion friction. Everyone feels better when they know they've made a purchase that'll benefit themselves, but also those efforts of sustainability. So here's a great example of Justuno tiered banner, right? And so with this banner, we have these banners in our template library and we provide those to all of our Justuno clients. And the strategy helps to increase average order value while using sustainability messaging as the incentive for the conversion persuasion, right? So in Justuno and CRO, it's all about optimizing. How do you do that? You A/B test. You uncover the results that worked and then you make changes incrementally. So after running a couple of eco promotions, measure the impact of those promotions and what they had on your sales and profits. The sustainability promotion type has that potential to generate more profits for the store, and it may give up less margin than those traditionally discount-based promotions that everyone's seen with pop-ups in the past. So Pure Vita has a great example here. Consumers are aware more now than ever before of how each purchase impacts their carbon footprint. And many consumer and e-commerce brands, they're running paid ads regarding their sustainability efforts. But when visitors land from engaging with those ads, they can't find that information fast enough. Maybe they feel tricked. They exit the site after a page or two scrolls. Now in Justuno, you can target URLs containing specific Google IDs or Facebook IDs to display your lead captures with that sustainability copy to that specific audience. And this is key to providing that omni-channel marketing approach. This is the strategy that builds brand trust and brand recognition faster, right? Data shows that connecting top level and trigger marketing with on-site custom targeted messaging improves conversion opportunity and it improves the visitor experience. So you can use radio buttons and lead captures like this drip drop example here on the right to help your visitors learn what cause they can support while collecting zero-party data to help personalize and segment your other marketing campaigns. Discounts don't always persuade all types of visitors. A visitor that's exposed to the brand's sustainability efforts wants to contribute to those efforts. They want to be a part of the brand. They want to be a part of the movement, part of the change, right? If visitors are leaving without making a purchase, have an exit offer to remind them how their purchase provides a positive environmental impact and you're saving on brand margin. You know, remind the visitor that they have a chance to get involved with making a purchase today. And you're building your email and SMS lists without having to provide that discount. With copy explaining that emails and SMS messages in the future will have information on the movement of the brand's sustainability efforts is also valuable to the customers. And it's easy in Justuno to use our targeting rules to show a lead capture or a banner with the brand sustainability efforts only to those visitors who have maybe traveled to a blog or an About Us page prior to engaging with any other promotions. Another great strategy is include a CTA button that can send visitors to maybe a sustainability loyalty rewards program. Here we're looking at another great example. You've got Just Water here, as well as the brand Summer Solstice, and they're early on surfacing their sustainability contributions in their lead capture, which is oftentimes the earliest part of the visitor journey, right? This helps reduce that conversion friction for those visitors who would have had to have searched for that information if they were even thinking about purchasing. Copy and images communicate to the visitors the purchase and the brand impact concisely. Again, what are we trying to do here? Expedite the conversion opportunity. Again, we've got some other great examples here from Solstice, Summer Solstice, and Just Water. All of these provide such a great example. And visit Justuno, and we'd be happy to help you find some of those templates. But lastly, this strategy here is about social media and social media list growth. So for TikTok, its users are 1.7 times more likely to purchase items via the app versus its competitors, supposedly due to the video's ability to push users' awareness of action, right? So yes, you can add videos to Justuno promos. We've got a lot of people adding YouTube videos and Vimeo videos, but the viral hashtag TikTok made me buy it has 46 billion views and climbing. For those looking to augment the in-app purchase to drive viewers to their site, use links in bios with UTMs targeting traffic with a specific pop-up mirroring the featured product, style, etc. of the video that the visitor came from. And with Justuno, we've got a partnership with the program and a tech partner called Gatsby. And with that integration, you can collect TikTok handles of your most valuable and ideal customers to activate those micro influencers. Those who are already loyal customers will be the best brand ambassadors that you can find to help drive that site traffic. Just make sure that you focus on the entertainment first, right? And the sales second. Now, if you target that audience and it does include Gen Z, you can't afford to not be on TikTok. We all know that. They're the vast majority of users with the buying power just a little bit below 200 billion, and it's only increasing. So open up this gateway, right, to the brand education for those visitors. Give people what they want while growing your social media list with the Justuno lead capture. And in Justuno, we've got templates. They're in place for you. They've got the strategies and the rules built in. I just can't wait to hear from your brand. So please reach out. You'll have my email at the end of this presentation. And more than anything, thank you for your time today. And we've got a great discount here for you to get started with Justuno.
Awesome. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, a lot of killer examples, a lot of great content, and a lot of great stats. Yeah, as Zach made pretty clear, it's pretty imperative that you communicate your sustainability initiatives, and if you don't have one, use shopping gives to an EcoCart to get those jump started, right? So yeah, thank you so much, Zach. So now we have Jen from Manifest Commerce.
Thanks so much, Michael. And that was awesome, Zach. I love the TikTok call outs. TikTok isn't going anywhere. It's such an important channel. So thanks for sharing the Gatsby piece too. I'm going to be looking that up later. That's pretty cool. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. My name's Jen. I am the co-founder and CMO over at Manifest Commerce. We're a sustainable 3PL built for high growth, earth conscious, omni-channel brands. Really, let me go back here a minute. We talked about this a lot. The 67% of shoppers are looking at what sustainability initiatives are tied to a brand. It's important. It's no secret. Sustainability is like trending hard right now. Earth conscious folks are 40% of that 67%. So like any environmental initiatives, it's like top of mind for shoppers. So keeping that sustainability message like on the forefront is very important, but oftentimes the forgotten piece of that journey is the supply chain. So digging into how important your sustainability initiatives are. Is sustainable fulfillment important for your brand on a scale from 1 to 5? Go ahead and pick a choice there. You'll see that poll pop up. Because oftentimes it's the last piece of the customer journey, but it's so important. We've seen brands that we are plastic free. We are passionate about not having any plastic in our product packaging. And then their 3PL partners putting everything together, shipping it out, and it's showing up in bubble wrap. So what happens then? There's complaints, negative reviews. What do you mean? I bought this product because it's plastic free, and then you're sending this to me in bubble wrap. So having that brand congruency, even all the way down to your fulfillment partner, is very important. Let's say that we'll talk about plastic for a minute here. So plastic takes 500 years to biodegrade, 500 years to break down. It's clogging landfills, creeping into waterways. So there's a huge plastic pandemic that's happening here. But fulfillment can happen without plastic. There's ways to have void fill, such as craft paper or biodegradable materials. Mycelium, plant-based, mushroom-based products are starting to hit the market. Now, the challenge is those aren't, front and center of the offering, and they're not front and center for 3PLs. Like some of the largest fulfillment operations have been doing the same thing for so long that it's hard for them to just stop in their tracks. So we built everything from the ground up to be able to have plastic-free fulfillments. All the carbon is offset through our partnership with EcoCart. And really this sustainability journey all the way down to last mile delivery, we are ensuring that it's a sustainable experience for your brand and for your customers. So there's lots of trends that are starting to pop up, lots of important, kind of green flags that are being waved, a lot of them coming out of, different climate conferences that the UN holds, but also in regulations and in legislations. So supply chain transparency, super important. And, when you think about the trends in ESG and CSR reporting, that's starting to become more of the norm. So there are plastic taxes that are starting to become more of the norm. A lot of states have banned plastic bags, and that's starting to trickle down into a lot of consumer brands as well. There's also a proposed carbon tax that is coming down the line. So with Manifest Commerce, as the leader here and setting up a brand for success, we want to ensure that you're staying ahead of your carbon offsets, staying ahead of legislation and all of those important pieces, and also being transparent about it. We help put together all your CSR reporting and all those things too, if there's any investor involvement, et cetera. So supply chain transparency is the name of the game. Ensuring that the messaging and the marketing that you're doing to your audience to share that you have a sustainable supply chain, that you have a sustainable fulfillment operation, we help with those initiatives as well. So this brand, this is Definite Articles here. They do biodegradable socks, and they were founded by the co-founders of Untucked Shirts. So these socks, you don't have to worry when they're all beat up and tattered, they're gonna return to the earth. So it was really important to them to have a fulfillment operation that also has biodegradable packaging materials, that doesn't use plastics, because it helps with brand congruency. Now, what's interesting when we look at the supply chain as a whole, it's a dark and dirty place. Logistics, it's the largest carbon culprit. There's carbon emissions every step of the journey, manufacturing all the way down to last mile delivery. But there are solutions that exist to be able to plug in sustainable strategies every step of the way. Manufacturing, procurement of sustainable products. There is a factory called Platform 88. They're a manufacturer in China. They're doing reusable plastic from Starbucks and creating barbecue tools, and they're just as sturdy, they're just as durable, and they're reusable plastic. So plastic, even though it's bad, it's gross, all of those things, we don't have to make more of it, but we can reuse it, the plastic that already exists. So the main goal is to just do what you can with what you have for your brand and connect the dots with all the different solutions, even in your supply chain. When we think about those that are offshoring, manufacturing and offshoring, the next stage of the supply chain journey is ocean freight. So ocean freight is another dark and dirty thing too. There's this thing there's black carbon, it's called marine carbon. Now that's what you see, kind of poisoning the turtles and harming the reefs and these kind of things. Now the ocean is important for our entire world to operate. So we want to ensure that we're taking good care of that. There's marine coalitions that exist. So ensure that your ocean freight partner, Maersk just started a green line too. So some of the biggest players are starting to really take hold. So solutions exist when it comes to ocean freight. Port. So there, you hear about the supply chain woes and all the challenges and all of that. Now, stuff getting backed up, inventory getting backed up means that, holiday orders are being placed now to make sure that there's support for Q4 volume and everything. But something to consider is your port partners. Now there's certain rules with port coalitions, green marine coalitions that will ensure that those ships aren't idling and just pouring fuel into the ocean while they sit and idle while they're all lined up. So doing that green checkbox to ensure that your port partners are thinking with a climate first approach is very important. Okay, now so your goods have arrived, to your port. They go through the checks and balances. Now you're putting them on the freight to get to your warehouse, right? So be very, like check how your freight is traveling from place to place. Can you do shared truckloads? Does your 3PL have a brand that's coming in around the same time within 3 to 5 days of your inventory arriving to port, that you could essentially do a shared truckload, get the inventory, carpool it over to your warehouse much quicker? That'll save a couple of trips. That'll save some carbon emissions from, that aren't needed. Sometimes these trucks, these rails, they're like half full and they're making trips back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. That's not efficient. We can help with those logistic pieces, connect the dots, make sure that, the trip from port to warehouse is as efficient as possible, both from a cost perspective, but also from an environmental perspective. So now the next stage of the journey, this is where Manifest's core competencies are. When we're warehousing, fulfilling, and delivering and getting your inventory to the customer through the last mile delivery. So warehousing, if you guys are fulfilling and doing that in-house, ensure that you have renewable energies where you can. Do you have landscaping set up? If there's like black asphalt and those kind of things outside, the sun beats down, it heats up, and it causes energy inefficiencies in the warehouse. But you can do some landscaping, make it look pretty, and also save on your energy bill. And it'll also make your warehouse more energy efficient. You can use robotics where you can to make the fulfillment process quicker. Keep quick moving inventory at the front of your warehouse. So there's lots of things that you could do logistically with the footprint of your warehouse to create efficiencies as well. Now, fulfillment is a funny one because, how many times as a consumer have you ordered, something teeny tiny and then you receive it in like a giant box? Like I ordered, some lipsticks from one of my favorite sustainable beauty brands is called Super Zero. They no plastics, all natural products, really great. I ordered like a small thing and then it came in like this giant box. And it's like, okay, all right, that's not efficient, so ensuring that you have right size packaging for your products is important. Also, ensuring that your packaging is biodegradable, curbside recyclable, that it will break down, and that it has an end of life. Now, our packaging, our next iteration of R&D, we're going to have a QR code on the packaging that shares what the end of life is. If it's compostable, we'll say this is at-home compostable. You can go ahead and break this down at home. If it's curbside recyclable, we'll go through the steps of that. Because ensuring a healthy end of life is really, really important. How many times have you walked out on trash day and just see the recycling bin just open, just, with all kinds of cardboard boxes and plastic and everything just pouring out. And same thing with tape. Tape is a tricky one because it is plastic, it's polymer based in its material, but we use water soluble tapes in our fulfillment centers. There are alternatives that exist. These are starting to become more of the norm, but a lot of times everything in the logistics industry, the packaging industry, it's just been the same for so long that it's hard to hit pause and just reinvent the wheel, as it were. So when we think about packaging, best place to start is with your packaging to become more sustainable. Looking at how to eliminate single-use packaging, eliminating anything through that may, take years and years and years to break down. We can help with that process too. Warehouse best practices, we talked a bit into that, ensuring, mezzanine floors are available where you can, energy efficiencies exist, renewable energies when possible. Also end of life and re-commerce. So the reverse logistics piece, something ships to a customer, it's the wrong size. What happens? It gets returned. Now it's another trip back to another facility. There's carbon emissions that happen there. Is there an efficiency that exists to be able to inspect, to put it back into inventory right at your 3PL so it doesn't have to go to another facility? We can help with the reverse logistics piece too, because that can be a messy one too when it comes to environmental and also just logistic efficiencies. Yeah, so this is everything that Manifest does for our conscious brands. We work with brands like Thousand Thou, Swab Shoes, Top Fox, ensuring that everything from end to end is 100% sustainable, efficient, and also helping with the reverse logistics piece. Really, the goal is to create circularity in commerce and look at how we can create minimal waste and create the best customer experience possible for your consumers, and look at how we can be more environmentally conscious without a brand having to take a hit to their bottom line. So thanks for letting me share some of these initiatives today. Any questions at all, you can feel free to reach out. My name's Jen. I'm co-founder here at Manifest. You can reach me, jen@manifestcommerce.io. And we do have an Earth Day promo going. So if you're thinking of making that 3PL switch, we're doing $500 towards your freight forwarding costs to get inventory to our warehouses. And we're also offsetting that carbon footprint of that freight forwarding. So anyone who's thinking of making that switch or just wants to chat sustainable logistics, feel free to reach out. And thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah, logistics is a particular field that I've always found very interesting, and as you said, yeah, crucial for, sustainability, especially sustainability at scale. So I really appreciate all that. And yeah, so please, everyone, take advantage of that Earth Day promotion, and please reach out to Jen. She's the bomb. But before we go to our final panelist, Jolene from the audience, they want to know, how do you quantify this for your consumers? And I'm assuming quantify means, I guess, impact on the environment. Is that what you mean, Jolene? Does that question make sense, Jen? Yeah.
So, when we're gathering data and we're doing shipment from point A to point B, we know the weight, we know where it's going. So we know how much carbon has been emitted from that shipment. We track that and we share that for you to be able to share, publicly on your website, on social, whatever it may be. That's all powered by EcoCart. So EcoCart is a strategic partner here. They're helping offset that. Now we are working on projects in the Amazon right now to do reforestation. So we share those details as well for you to outwardly share with your customer base. So it's all tracked. Same thing with plastic savings. We know how much plastic is in each shipment. We know what that equates to. So we have the data to be able to then share that with you as a brand.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. And yes, Zach, appreciate your comment. Yeah, it absolutely should be a required point moving forward in our current world. Absolutely. So yeah, thank you very much. Great. So without further ado, Ian from Hawk Media will be our final presenter here, and then we'll have some time to take questions. But Ian, why don't you go ahead and take it away? Oh, hey, Ian, you're on mute. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, 1 second. I'm not sure why that had took place. All right, can everyone see my screen?
Yep, good to go.
Great. All right, and just a reminder, sorry, I lost my place.
No worries. It's not a webinar without some technical difficulties.
Right, awesome. So just a reminder, I'm Ian Archbold, Senior Lifecycle Marketing Manager at Hawk Media. Primarily what I do, like I mentioned earlier, is making sure that the messaging is getting out to all of your consumers, your shoppers, and also your potential leads. So I'm going through some examples of way you can definitely get the messaging out. And like I think Zach mentioned earlier, at the beginning of the presentation, one way you want to start by doing that is making sure you have, this type of messaging found on the website for sure. So this is one of our brands here, we represent at Hawk Media called The Club. They are a sustainable swimwear company based out of Miami Beach, Florida. And they do a really exceptional job of not just getting the messaging out, but living the sustainable kind of brand lifestyle. So, here they mention keeping the globe clean by creating a fully recyclable clothing from recycled and organic products. And they really do live by that. So a couple of examples of how they continue that messaging throughout their website is also present on their blog. They do a really good job of not just letting their consumers know how those, how their product is made, but also partnerships and initiatives that they're doing on their own to really push forward, a more eco-friendly and sustainable brand for their e-commerce. So a couple of examples here, the blogs are putting out how their product is made with plastic and recycled bottles, how they've made a new partnership with EcoDrive, which is similar to EcoCart in that they allow companies to partner with them where they can offset carbon emissions from shipping by planting trees, either through letting their consumer do that or taking on the offset costs themselves. And then, of course, partnering up with Surfrider Foundation to do local beach cleanups. Couple of ways we like to get the messaging out is both through SMS and also through email. So here what we've done with Le Club to announce their new line of Everglades collection was get the word out, but also they went a step further in not just, releasing a sustainable collection, but also they've reached out to the Everglades National Parks and made a contribution, an ongoing contribution to the national parks there, specifically Everglades, because it's local to them. So we've mentioned that here in the SMS message that was sent out, but then we also mention it here and repeat that messaging in the email. And we also have a passive kind of placement there at the bottom of the email announcing the partnership with EcoDrive and how they're planting trees to offset that. And like I mentioned before, they really do live that lifestyle of being an eco-friendly brand. So they do talk the talk and walk the walk, so to speak. So here, they've partnered with Surfrider Foundation. They do this on a regular basis to where they host regular beach cleanups. One way we get the word out is through SMS. We found a lot of success with getting people's involvement and signups through SMS delivery specifically, but also we get a lot of success through our email as well. So we always want to compound the messaging with both SMS and email just to kind of really drive it home. And also, not only do we let them know about the opportunity to sign up and what's taking place, but we kind of did a follow-up messaging there with the message on the far left, kind of just showing that how the team came out to represent. And then here's a great example of a couple of ways we announced our partnership with EcoDrive and their new initiative to start planting trees to offset their emissions given off from e-commerce shipping specifically. So I think Dane mentioned it earlier. There's a few ways or a few approaches that a company can take when they partner with a carbon offset or any offset, whether it be if it's someone like EcoCart. You can either choose to give your consumers the opportunity to offset their own purchase by letting them do that at the checkout portion, or in this case, the club has taken on the responsibility of those offset fees, and they'll be planting trees on behalf of every purchase made during the month, this month specifically being Earth Month. I do think that we are going to continue this practice going forward, just because we have already seen a lot of success. And I'll be quite frank with you all, these emails specifically have seen higher open metrics and click-through metrics than even our other sustainable focused messaging that has gone out. So this is already telling me that, you know, this is really hitting home with those consumers who actually want, you know, who are aware, they know what they're doing, they know they're online, they know they're making these purchases, and that it has to get shipped to them, it's in a box, it's, you know, how do we dispose of that? And so these people are aware and they're looking for ways to offset that. And a little background and kind of stepping away from the club, and another client that I represent, that I work with, is Kitchen Craft. Really cool company. They've been around 106 years. They make high quality cookware. And this is an example, I think Molly mentioned earlier, a lot of brands might be struggling. Well, like, yeah, I'm not like a Le Club who I sell sustainable products as my main focus. Well, you may be sitting on something that may not be obvious to you that is actually sustainable, or maybe it encourages sustainability. So here, Kitchen Craft, like I mentioned, they make that high quality cookware that's built to last a lifetime. This is the type of stuff that you get handed down from your grandparents and you keep it. But not just that, they do offer replacement parts, so that even if something that breaks from wear and tear, whether it be a handle or a knob, that can be easily replaced. So here this April, we're doing a, you know, this actually comes out in a couple of weeks. We're doing our Earth Day promotion. So this 106-year-old cookware company was still able to get in on, you know, a sustainable approach, and actually do it in a genuine way. Because truly, if something's built to last a lifetime, it's not going to end up in a landfill, especially if it can be replaced. And now we've seen a lot of popularity with other brands, really in the clothing industry, brands like Patagonia, Assembly Lane, Urban Outfitters that are starting to launch their reworn or rewear programs, and or they, you know, someone like Patagonia who actually has a straight up repair program. I personally have worked with that. I'm a surfer myself, and I've had damaged wetsuits, and it's crazy. They literally will just fix it for free. So it's a really cool thing. And that, to me, as a consumer, I'm locked in. And then finally, you know, you may be thinking to yourself, well, I want to get in on the action. I personally believe in sustainability, but maybe it doesn't really, you know, like mesh with your overall look or design or feel of a brand. Well, there's ways to kind of take a more subtle approach here. So Banks Journal, a clothing company based in Southern California, you know, they are surfing leaning, coastal inspired. You know, in background, Rama, the founder, grew up in Byron Bay, Australia, surfing and fishing his whole life. So sustainability is important to him personally, but as a brand, you know, their look is more trying to be hip and cool. So they keep sustainability more on the low pro and on the back burner. So they're sustainable, you know, they have a sustainability page, and they do one email a year, just letting people know that their products are both made from plastic recycled bottles, specifically their board shorts. All of their fleeces are made from organic fair trade cotton. And then finally, all of their packaging is right down to the tags are either done with recycled paper or FSC approved packaging. So they really do kind of like take that more low pro approach. So it doesn't have to be, you know, in your face. There's still ways to participate. Definitely something you would definitely want to consider. I think someone mentioned it earlier, and this is like my final point, that, and I'm pretty sure it was Zach who mentioned it earlier, especially with Gen Z shoppers, millennial shoppers, they're going to be starting to take, or they are taking stands with their wallets and their dollars, and choosing more eco-friendly brands, or at least, at the very least, products that they know are eco-friendly, that aren't going to be harmful to the earth. So, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Ian. Yeah, I really love your case studies and just the variety of different ways brands can go about communicating their sustainable practices across the board, whether it's email, SMS, on-site, the whole spectrum. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this whole panel and like the variety of everything we covered today. So yeah, thank you, and especially your point about the quality products. You know, I think there's online communities around identifying brands that sell products that are made to actually last a very long time, whereas so many times brands will create, you know, products that could be better, that break much sooner and much easier, and then often don't have anybody to repair it, and so it just gets thrown out and goes straight to the dump, which is just more and more common. So I really appreciate that point there. Awesome. Well, cool. We have about 10 or so minutes left, a little bit less, but we had a few questions come in. Ian, you can stop sharing the screen if you'd like to. Just when we discuss a couple of things. But I'm not sure, it says anonymous attendee, but they wanted to know, this goes for anyone here. Do y'all have any suggestions for how to combat returns and waste? So Ian, of course, you just answered that by building quality products and, you know, selling those. But, you know, any suggestions for returns and waste in general?
But I mean, I know I've used strategies to mitigate returns actually from the onset. It's just being, you know, and this is more from, I guess, my angle from email or SMS, is just being a little more cognizant of the consumers and the audiences or segments that you're sending to. And, you know, if it's something or a product that you know isn't going to be for a specific group of people or consumers, perhaps maybe reconsider sending like them that type of promotion. Example would be if, you know, if it's a pair of like board shorts, for example, in their male board shorts, and maybe they fit a specific way, maybe they fit smaller, perhaps, and you have that data on the back end, maybe in your email or within your SMS about, you know, that fit preference of certain individuals, you can avoid those kind of returns by just excluding those individuals from even getting that email.
Awesome. Thanks, Ian. Yeah.
And then, you know, to add to that too, returns and, you know, reverse logistics, the more you can get ahead of that, the better. One way to get ahead of that is, you know, ensuring right size, those kinds of things. Okendo is a great tool for reviews. So if you have Okendo integrated into your store, then, you know, anything that is like right size, anything like that is communicated if it fits a little small, et cetera, et cetera. So the customer review process. But, you know, returns, it's part of the game of e-commerce. So sometimes they're not avoidable. So to mitigate waste there's, you know, different reverse logistics solutions that exist, or, you know, if there's damaged items and things that could be refurbished. We partner with a company called Retail Reworks. So if something's like damaged or like slightly used or something like that, it can be refurbished and then moved back into inventory. Now, re-commerce could also be an option too. So if there's a ton of returns and you have like inventory that is piled up that you're trying to move through, instead of fire sale, you could look at a re-commerce strategy. We like Treat. Treat.co, TREET.co. And that's just a plugin right on your site. And it's kind of like the Nordstrom Rack of your Shopify store. So there's another option for purchase and to, you know, see an additional channel and an additional revenue stream from that re-commerce site. So there's different solutions that exist. And, you know, if you could reuse or break down and refurbish and turn them into other materials, Retail Reworks is a great partner for that. If you want to resell, Treat is a great partner for that regard.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, that's a very in-depth answer. I appreciate that. Great. Cool. We have one more other question. This is from Christina. And so Zach and Molly sent in an answer, but I think it'd be worthwhile to launch back live. And it's Christina asked, if a company has a limited budget for sustainability, what should it invest in first? What has the most positive impact for the environment, but also for the customers? For example, in offset projects or packaging projects, or would it be something else entirely? And so Molly, I actually kind of want to go to you first. So with Shopping Gives, what sort of success stories do you see with maybe companies with limited margins and maybe limited ability to donate? Maybe they're not at scale yet or otherwise. What's your experience been there?
Yeah, I would say a low barrier to entry is what I discussed in the presentation is donating to an eco-conscious or an environmentally focused nonprofit. If you're not able to overhaul your supply chain and update like anything in your business model, contributing, like supporting a nonprofit that does this really well, and that's what their mission is, and they have an entire staff that's focused on a certain like cause area and mission, partnering with that organization either through commerce giving or reaching out to them and setting a fundraising goal to help them fund a project. That's a way your company can have a really positive impact. That's not necessarily, directly through your business, but your business model and operations can help fund something that has a good impact.
Okay, awesome. That's actually a perfect segue. Back to you, Jen, actually. So one question is, so kind of on a similar note here, is it's typically thought that switching to sustainable packaging and things like that is more expensive, inherently. But is that true? And how does that work for brands of similar size?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that is the common misconception about sustainability. Luckily we did all of the research up front. Like we searched from like South Korea to South Carolina to find like the best packaging solutions. And they exist. So when we purchase in bulk, purchase in volume, we're getting a discount, which we're then passing through to our customers. So, if you are, sourcing yourself, a great solution partner, if you look at lumi.com, there's like all sustainable providers up and down the supply chain. So that's a great resource to start. If you don't want to do the research and, you want us to just take care of it, go ahead and reach out. But that is a misconception, and it's not true. There are solutions that exist that are at the same or less of a cost, depending on which supplier you're going to. And that's everything from, biodegradable, compostable. There's so much that runs the gamut of sustainability and packaging. And it really depends on your brand. So we can help to solution architect the proper packaging and the proper solution that fits well for your brand and for your budget.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. That's really uplifting to know, because actually I didn't even know the answer to that question, and something I was curious about myself. Thanks, Jen. Cool. All right, great. We have about a minute left. I don't think there are any more questions in the chat here. So since we're at about a minute, I'm going to go ahead and launch one tiny quick poll at the very end, just to see who you're most interested from hearing from this presentation. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. As I said, this recording will be sent out tomorrow, so feel free to watch it. Please do send it to your friends. And then of course our panelists, they're here for you. I'm super pleased with how this went and the content the insight y'all were able to give. So please reach out to them, Jen, Molly, Zach, and Ian. Dane unfortunately had to hop, but he gave his email. I put it in the chat there. Please reach out to them. I'll include all their emails and contact information in the email tomorrow. So just look out for that. And yeah, thank you so much for joining today. And so if all our panelists want to say a quick bye, yeah. All right. See you guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Everybody, great presentations.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thanks, you guys.
Yep.